What's up, party people? It's me, Shanila. Listen, if you've been going through the eclipse season, it's been feeling heavy, it's been feeling emotional, you've been hashtag sad girl, let's talk. And I know I should have come here a couple of weeks ago to let you know what was going to be up with the eclipse, what to do before, what to do during, what to do after. But listen, better late than never. We're talking about a couple practices to avoid during eclipse season. So anytime you'll catch me talking about astrology, I'm talking to you in a practical way. I'm talking to you about, yes, the stars, the moon, the signs, this thing and that thing, all the astrology over here. But I also want to mention to you that you're a human being living in life, and there's a lot of different things that are happening in life, whether socially, whether culturally, whether collectively, whether individually. There's a lot of different things that are going to impact the way that you move through eclipse energy. So eclipse energy tends to be really dense. It tends to be emotional. It tends to bring you in your feelings. There's a lot of grief that starts to come up. Your body starts to feel heavy. Things are just a lot more dense than normal, than usual. There's just a heaviness that starts to sit in your physical body. So you might be feeling it in your shoulders. Maybe it's your dreams. Maybe it's your head, the sinuses. Maybe it's your throat. Maybe it's your chest. Maybe it's your back. Maybe it's your belly. Maybe it's your pelvis. Maybe it's somewhere else. But wherever it is that you've been holding this dense energy, it's important to understand that not everything is meant for you every season, and especially eclipse season, it's not meant for you to overdo. It's meant for you to just be in the muck. It's meant for you to kind of just be in the emotions, be in the heaviness, be in the grief, be in whatever it is showing up, and be okay with it. You know, it's like we're always trying to problem solve our way out of whatever it is that we feel, and we're always trying to, come up with a solution and come up with the high vibe feeling on the other end of it. And although that can help you kind of get through things that feel heavy, things that feel dense, things that feel, icky and yucky and mucky and heavy, it's also just as important for you to be able to sit with what's coming up, whether it's the emotion, whether it's the feeling, whether it's the paranoia, whether it's the grief, whether it's the sadness, whether it's the happiness, whether it's the desire to make a change or a shift. It's important for you to be able to sit with that feeling as well. In this conversation, I wanted to channel with you a couple of different practices that aren't really helpful for us during eclipses. And eclipses are so dense because if we think about what the heck an eclipse is in the first place, it's the darkness and the light that are coming to overlap. And that metaphorically literally just means that all the inner work that you've been doing, the shadow work, the healing work, the self-development, the personal development, the boundaries, the relationship with joy and pleasure and money and abundance, all these different things that you've been reconfiguring, it kind of just comes to a head and you're like, what have I been doing all of this stuff for? Is making me really paranoid. I have to become a different person because if I'm going to do the same thing and expect different results, then I'm kind of just being silly. And all of this awareness starts to surface. It starts to come to light. It kind of magnifies and it amplifies. And different people deal with that in different ways. Some people are really excited. They're like, yes, now is the time for me to make this shift. Now is the time for me to let go of the old ways of being and old ways of thinking. And on the opposite end, I feel like there's no in between. You're either on that side or you're on this side where you're literally just overwhelmed with all the different things that have shifted within you. Because shifting isn't necessarily just shifting up here, right? It's mindset work is mindset work. That's part of that. But then shifting physically is really exhausting. Your molecules are changing. Your DNA is changing. You're feeling this ascension sickness. Sometimes it's known as this exhaustion that comes when you do shadow work. And eclipse time, it's not that it's only happening during eclipse time, because it can happen anytime. It's just this more amplified. It's more magnified. The density of where we are existing on earth, the density of all this work just feels heavier and it feels more important, I guess. It feels like it has more weight than other times when you're doing this kind of work. So the first thing that I'm going to say to you during eclipse season is that it's really important for you not to overdo your healing work. So this is all right, you know what? Maybe let your journaling go for a little bit. Maybe let your shadow work go for a little bit. Maybe, just don't take all all these intense meditation journeys and spiritual journeys and do all this kind of stuff because your body is asking to settle. It's asking to sit with what it's experiencing. And what it's experiencing is going to be individual to you, because if you're feeling light and, pleasure, and you're feeling just really excited, ready to go, and you're just feeling really lit up, then okay, let that energy settle within you. You know what I mean? Like, get used to this feeling, get used to that energy, get used to that vibe. And then on the opposite end, if the feeling is like you've been, reconfiguring your life, reconfiguring the way that you think about stuff, it's going to feel heavy. So if things are feeling heavy, let that be. Let that be true. Figure out how to take care of yourself in this heaviness. Do you need to take a bath? Do you need to take a break? Do you need to go cry? Do you need to, watch a sad movie and let those emotions just come up? Do you need to, just be by yourself? Do you need to, right? Like, what is it that you need is going to be important for you to actually sit with it rather than overdoing it with more. And a part of us gets addicted to that more, right? We think that like, oh, this worked. So all of a sudden, like, I need to double down on this, or I need to triple down on this, or I need to keep doing something that's working, or otherwise it's not going to stay, it's not going to stick. And there's that scarcity energy that comes over you that says like, if you don't overdo, then how are you going to be able to maintain? But the practice of letting it be is maintenance. Practice of letting the pleasure just be, letting the joy just be, letting the happiness just be, letting the sadness just be, letting the anger just be is a practice. So instead of doing more actions, see how you can just like not do less. I wouldn't say it's doing less. It's just like doing the bare minimum. Right? It's not like adding more to the plate. It's just saying, how is it that I can just maintain what it is that I'm experiencing right now? And I'm not going to rush to make sense of this. I'm not going to rush to give it meaning. I'm not going to rush to make this change, especially if it's uncomfortable. We rush to just change the uncomfortable feeling. It's like, how is it that I'm going to just let it be? And along the same realm, I'm going to say the second thing to avoid during eclipse season is to not travel so much across realms. And I say this with a side eye, and I say this is like, is this the right audience? Because you know what it means to travel across realms. Astral traveling, lucid dreaming way too much, leaving your body, dissociating from your body, all of these different things, especially if you're feeling ungrounded right now, is going to unground you even more, right? And so if you're leaving your body, it's a form of dissociation. It's a form of not being here. Refer back to my first point, which is like, let things be, like experience the thing that you're feeling right now, even if it's uncomfortable. So the solution to not wanting to be here is to dissociate. So we're talking about the substances. We're talking about hyper daydream. We're talking about, being a little too delusional. Like, yeah, delusional is key, but there is also a balance to, the delusional thinking. And so when you're physically leaving the physical body, when you're leaving too much, whether you're smoking a lot of weed, whether you're doing a lot of substances, whether you're, overdoing certain things that are not really in balance for you, that is definitely something to look out for during eclipse times, because it just feels like this is the only thing that I know to not let me feel the uncomfortableness of what it is that I feel. And it's easier for me to dissociate. It's easier for me to leave. It's easier for me to binge watch Netflix, because like that's what I was doing. It's easier for you to, hyper focus on something else that keeps you away from the present moment. And especially if you're spiritually inclined, which all of us are, and especially if you're practicing that spiritual inclination, you're somebody who knows how to leave your body. You know how to travel across astral realms. You're really like storytelling around the 5D, the 8D, the aliens, the controversies, the what is it called? The conspiracy theories. You're like leaving too much. And as fun as those things are, and as much as like, cool, go explore those things at a certain time when you are grounded. If right now during the eclipse season is not when you're grounded, understand that about yourself. Take care of yourself during that time and allow yourself to be in the physical moment in a way that allows you to understand that you're a human being in a human body. So it's okay that you feel human things. It's okay that you're doing human things. And it's okay that you're, feeling paranoid, but then also allowing yourself to coming back into your physical body with practices like breathwork and movement and dance, and allowing yourself to experience this in this realm. The third thing to avoid during eclipse season is to be so stuck with a routine. Routines are great, especially if you thrive in a routine. But just like seasons, just like life, just like any kind of rhythms and flows that you have in your physical body, your routines will change depending on what it is that you need in this particular season. So if you're feeling super dense, you're feeling like you don't have the chemicals, you don't have the energy, you don't have the motivation, you don't have the mental capacity, the cognitive capacity to do X, Y, and Z, then perhaps look at shifting your routines. And part of shifting the routine is not really just like letting yourself do whatever. It's still being conscientious and still being mindful and still being able to understand and look at what it is that you need, but not from a point of this is my routine, this is my regime, and that's going to exhaust you even more. Because if you don't have the energy to get up to do 10 things, then see how this season is asking you to work. How is this season asking you to flow? How is this season asking you to not force the thing and allow you to flow through the things? So a part of you is going to resist that because you're like, oh my gosh, I was doing 10 things 2 weeks ago. Well, today's not 2 weeks ago. Today's today. So maybe today you can't do 10 things, and that's okay. That's your perfectionist that needs to quiet down a little bit. That's your hyper vigilant personality that needs to relax just a little bit. That's your overactivated nervous system that needs to find that peace, that balance, that essence to exhale just a little bit, because our natural inclination is to keep doing the thing that we know worked in the past. But if it's not working for us in the present moment, if it's not serving us in this present moment, we have to be open to shifting that. So in this season, if that shift is to do a little bit of a slower morning, is to take a little bit extra time getting to bed, or to even see that, the time that you're going to bed is a little bit earlier or later, or the time that you're waking up is a little bit earlier or later, allow that to be true, because you are a function of nature, right? So you're not meant to go, that's patriarchy, that's colonization, that is imperialism, that makes you feel like you're a machine, and that's just not true. You have rhythms, you have circadian rhythms, you have ultradian rhythms, you have infradian rhythms, you have menstrual rhythms, you have emotional rhythms. There's all these different things. Another rant for another day. But your physical rhythm is going to be sending you clues, and it's going to be amplified during the eclipse season. Your body's going to be shifting with the season. So if you're noticing that there's less sun, less resources, plants and trees and birds and animals outside are conserving their energy, you have to understand that you are a part of nature too. So perhaps this season is for that conservation. Perhaps that season is about that internal care, that self-care, that inward kind of journey for you right now. Or maybe it's not. Don't let me put words into your mouth, right? What I'm asking you to do is to notice what kind of routine, what kind of regime, what kind of flow is going to be supportive for you versus something that's going to be forcing you to feel like you're lazy, forcing you to feel like you're procrastinating, forcing you to feel like you're not doing enough, forcing you to feel like you're not good enough, forcing you to subscribe to the narratives that are already somewhere in the back of your mind. Okay, so as this eclipse season, whether there's another eclipse season that's passing by and you saved this video for that reason, allow yourself to know that there is beauty in being in the present moment. There's beauty in the sadness that you feel. There's beauty in the emotions that are coming up. There's beauty in that. And maybe in this present moment, it's like, shut up. I don't want to feel, I want to feel okay. I don't want to know that there's a beauty in whatever. Okay, but just understand that your higher self knows that there is a reason to feel the things that you feel. And even if the puzzle pieces don't feel like they're aligning, even if, you can't see the greater vision over there, that is really far over there, that's okay. Just give yourself permission to be here, to like yourself, and just know that you're doing the best that you can, and that's good enough. All right? Well, friends, just remember, the world is your playground, and until next time, I will catch you soon.